What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're taking a look at Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart here on the Steam Deck. This is just released today for the PC. I'm actually pretty surprised at the performance we're able to get, and the game's definitely playable here on Steam Deck. So let's go ahead and get into it and take a look. As far as compatibility, I didn't force anything here. I just ran it default, and the game is verified. It actually got verified just last night before launch today. So let's go ahead and get into the game here. And looking at the settings, I'm full screen 800p. VSync is off in game. And we have FSR 2.1 with dynamic upscaling, or dynamic resolution rather, with a 30 FPS target. And I know normally I would say not to use dynamic resolution scaling, but honestly for this and even the Ally, it's really needed for lower end hardware to get decent performance and works really well in this game. We're also on the medium preset here for our graphics, which I think works really well for our target, and we'll take a look at some low as well. But we do have depth of field, bloom, chromatic aberration, all that stuff kind of turned off. I typically don't like that. That's why it says custom, but other than that, we are in medium. So when you get into this, kind of a busy area in the beginning of the game, and I've played through a few of the levels, and performance stays pretty consistent. We're able to stay in the 30s without a problem here on the Steam Deck, and the dynamic resolution does a really good job at kind of keeping up with things, and when we get down close to that 30 mark, it makes the adjustments it needs to keep us from dipping. And what I find surprising is how well it's able to do that and not introduce a lot of stuttering and issues that do tend to happen in a lot of games with dynamic resolution. Now, if we take a look at low and medium next to each other, with medium here on the left and low on the right, the reason I'm really not going with low or lower than low, they have a lowest setting. It just isn't really worth it. I don't gain enough FPS out of the game most of the time compared to medium, and it's just working well for me with the dynamic resolution scaling. So if you want to go through and tweak things a little bit for your liking, you certainly can. You're not going to be playing this game at like 40, 50, 60 FPS anyway on the deck. It's more of a 30 FPS target, so I think medium's the way to go, and that's why I'm going to stick with it here throughout the rest of the video. So we'll stick with that 800p medium FSR2 with dynamic resolution targeting 30 FPS. And as I said, I played a few levels, and as I moved around in the game, performance actually stayed surprisingly good. Again, the resolution scaling or the dynamic scaling seems to be implemented well here, and from my understanding, they've done a similar thing with Spider-Man's introduction of FSR 2.1 in combination with dynamic resolution scaling, where it's actually working quite well, keeping up with the game pretty well. And the most important thing, it's not introducing frame time stutters, which is what oftentimes will happen when it hits the system where it's making those adjustments. So it does pretty well. The other thing it does pretty well is able to keep up with those adjustments so that you don't go under 30 often. There are times you might see 28 or 29, but it does bounce back pretty quickly. Those are usually the rifts that you're going into or load-in areas. Then it recovers and holds you at, say, 31, 32 until you get to an easier to run area, and then it'll go up from there. Now, these cities and levels are full of detail and very alive in this game. I played through it on PlayStation 5 and beat it back at launch, so I'm looking forward to it here again on PC. But these are very, very busy levels with a lot going on, and that is again why I didn't expect, honestly, the Steam Deck to be able to hold up and run the game as well as it is, and giving me a 30 FPS or higher experience almost all the time. Even here in this level, as we'll get into some combat, because when things get busy is when we could introduce more issues with our performance, but it holds out pretty well. Now, this spot only has a few enemies, so it wasn't too hard to run, but I wanted to see how it would do here. The next area that we'll go into is actually a bit busier and a lot more particle effects and things going on screen. And again, the game does keep up, though. The Steam Deck handles it just fine. So let's switch over here. We'll get to where we have a lot more enemies on screen in this area. I don't have as many buildings blocking our view, so we're having to do the draw distance and render in everything out in the city. And even at doing that, and with all of the enemies appearing on screen, and with shooting, jumping, doing all the different dodge moves and stuff, kind of panning around, I really couldn't make it go under that 30-31. Again, it just does a good job with the scaling of keeping up, anticipating, making the changes, not introducing stutter, and keeping us at a playable frame rate and a game that feels smooth to play even at this lower frame rate in the 30s on Ratchet & Clank here. So if you're looking to play this game on your Steam Deck, I really don't think you're going to have any issues. You can certainly tweak things a bit more, but I don't think you'll squeeze a ton more out of it. Again, really surprised at how well it runs here on the Steam Deck. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Again, I played through this game on the PS5 and it was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to it here again on the Steam Deck. All right, guys, thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. As always, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.